fired up. Just do your thing here, bud. Nobody's any better at this than you are.
Have fun, take a deep breath.
Give him hell at the end. You like to?
Fight like hell like we do every week. You are the best here.
Brett, be affirmative.
You told me to get on.
Info. Ready. Ready. Go slow. Green, green, green. Lock it down, lock it down. 14.
I'm destroyed, and I just got drove through like 6 times on the 14. So, is he thinking? That is the stupidest thing I've seen in my career. Literally.
Everything you described is accurate. Haven't even finished the second stage yet. Half the field's wrecked.
Hell yeah.
11 got it. Rowdy there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day. Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
Therefore, great job, guys.
And welcome back to Racing in the Draft. And once again, my name is Mark. Welcome to another edition of Racing in the Draft as we go road course racing for the second time in the 2023 season. Can we see another new winner? Can Daniel Suarez repeat at Sonoma? Practice is any indication? Probably not. He wasn't too fast in practice. But either way, what I thought was going to be a short race last week ended up being almost as long as the Coke 600 with the red flags. But either way, surprise winner from the pole. And more surprising, he was the most owned driver for Draftkings. Congratulations to Kyle Busch, our first 3-time winner of the 2023 season. So let's take a look at that before we dive into Sonoma and the road course out in Northern California. So the optimal lineups from Gateway for 2023. Kyle Busch leading 121 of the 243 laps. I definitely did not have a whole lot of ownership and did not expect Kyle Busch to hold on and maintain that long up front, but he did, and he quite dominant. Also, Ryan Blaney from the outside pole position, holding on and finishing in 6th and leading 83 laps. So the two of them definitely were dominating the majority of the race. Kyle Larson, who had just a awful car all day, ended up finishing up in the 4th position. He was my number 1 pick for the week. Michael McDowell, surprise, finishing in 9th. Chris Buescher starting 27th, finishing in 12th. And Todd Gillen, finishing in 15th. Another good run for Todd Gillen in that 38 car. Other guys that didn't make the optimal lineup, but had pretty high points: Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Joe Logano, who I definitely didn't have much ownership in, and Daniel Suarez, starting 13th and finishing 7th. So good on them. Definitely did not have much ownership in them. What's up, Matt? How we doing? Let's secure the bag tomorrow. Yes, let's do that. After watching the Xfinity race and having raced Sonoma now in iRacing, they keep talking about tire wear, and yeah, it makes a difference, but I don't know how much of a difference it makes, especially after watching Eric Almirola in the Xfinity race stay out on older tires, not super old, but older tires, and holding off 2 of the best road racers probably in NASCAR. And Eric Almirola is not known as a road course racer. Held off Kyle Larson and AJ Allmendinger to secure the win. So good on Eric Almirola. Definitely did not see that coming. Just like I didn't quite see Ryan Preece winning the ARCA race. But the competition for the ARCA race was not as great as was. I mean, we had 7 Cup drivers in the Xfinity race today, along with some really decent road course racers. What's up, Paul? Good evening, sir. So yeah, that's the highlights from Gateway, our optimal lineup challenge. Kyle Larson now has taken a one race lead in that, or one optimal lineup lead over Ricky Stenhouse and William Byron, and a whole bunch of guys with four: Ross Chastain, Justin Haley, Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, Michael McDowell, Kyle Busch, Todd Gillen, Chris Buescher. So yeah, and then I mean we've almost filled this whole thing. I'm still surprised. Usually by this time we're only about 75% of the way full. So should be interesting to watch what happens the rest of the year in that optimal lineup challenge. But either way, we are headed to Sonoma for road course racing. One of the older road courses on our circuit that we've run quite a bit of. And it is in wine country, Northern California. It is a road course type. The race length is 1.9, or the track length is 1.99 miles. 12 turns, if you call it 12. This little notch here, kind of the 12th turn. But the race length is 110 laps, so Dominator points won't matter a whole lot other than it's very hard to pass here. So that will make a little bit of a difference. And the pole sitter has won here before, and he runs fairly well here. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because he's got some really stiff competition, and one of his own drivers from 2311 on the outside. But Denny Hamlin's got the pole for this race. So after practice, I did not see that coming. With our track comparisons, we're not going to race Road America this year, but it is still from last year, and we ran this new next-gen car there last year. So I did not use any of the Roval style, which is the road course inside of an oval, which is Indy and Charlotte, but I did use Sonoma, Circuits of America, and Watkins Glen and Road America when I looked at my comparisons. So the real reason we came is to talk about drivers and practice, types of things. So we start here with the most expensive guy on the board at Kyle Larson at $10,600, who pretty much looked like he was going to absolutely dominate this race tonight for the Xfinity. And if practice is any indication, if he can get up front, he may be able to stay up front. Paul, see, AJ, Ty Gibbs, Larson all ran great. Almirola won Xfinity. Yep. And they all have a leg up for tomorrow. Yes and no. It does transfer over. I mean, anytime you can turn laps, whether you're doing it at Martinsville or Talladega, Martinsville or any of the 1.5 miles or a road course, anytime that you can run laps, it always helps. But is it a big enough advantage to say that they'll be the favorites for tomorrow? I mean, of course, AJ at any road course is going to be that way. Kyle Larson, of course, at any road course is going to be that way. Gibbs is an interesting thought process. He ran well tonight in Xfinity. I think he finished fourth or fifth, so he had a top five. In fact, I think, yeah, the top four were all Cup drivers. So you had Almirola take the win. AJ finished second. Larson finished third, and Ty Gibbs finished fourth. So 4 out of the 7 Cup drivers took up the top 4 spots. So, I mean, Almirola was a surprise. And he really did really well, because he is not known as he's an okay road course racer, but he's not one that, when you look at the list, I would not put Almirola in probably the top 15 of road course racers in the Cup Series. But congratulations to him. He did it. It was really cool to see him celebrate with his kids. So good on him. Been a while since he'd won. He won it in the Cup Series at New Hampshire. Not 22, but he did in 2021. So it's been a while since he's been to victory lane. So good on him. But let's talk about let's talk about Sonoma and road course racing, and who we've got and pricing we've got. Kyle Larson, $10,600. I know that you guys are new here, but if we get anybody else that are not new here, you've been this before, so you understand what this box means. But if anybody else is new joining, we'll take a look at all the stuff that's inside this box here with Kyle Larson. So his price tag, $10,600. The next line here, he is starting in 16th. And the grade area part here is practice. So they only had 20 minutes of practice today, which I really wish we would get back to having 50 minutes of practice at all tracks, especially at road courses, because, I mean, lap times are 1.5 to 2 minutes at most road courses. So with 20 minutes, I mean, you're looking at max 16 laps. That says Gibbs should definitely be the front runner for Rookie of the Year. Now that Noah Gragson is going to miss this week, yeah, I think Ty Gibbs pretty much locks up Rookie of the Year this year. Noah was really the only competition for Gibbs, and Gibbs has been beating him pretty handedly every week. So I must say that 54 has cleaned up his act mostly. Yeah, I mean, that kid has been through a lot. I couldn't even imagine what that kid has been through in the last 6 months to a year, from winning the Xfinity Championship to less than 12 hours later having your dad pass away, to then having to pretty much take over for one of the best in the business in Kyle Busch and change the number and then try to go out and be competitive. And I think he's done a really, really good job. So I've been pretty impressed with Ty Gibbs so far. But we'll get to Ty Gibbs. We'll finish up this box here and we'll kind of get into some more of the other drivers. But inside this box here, so because of this next gen car, I don't go real far back like I do at a lot of the other tracks where I do the last 5 races, because we did the last 5 races at Sonoma because we missed 2020. We would have to go back to like 2017, and everything at this point is different. The car is different, the tires are different, most of the drivers are now different. So I am really only looking at the last 2 years of Sonoma, which is 2 races, Circuits of America from earlier this year, Watkins Glen from last year, and Road America from last year. So out of that comparison of those 5 tracks, Kyle Larson has 2 wins, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 5 top 20s. This is the bottom line that I'm reading through here. And out of those 5 races, he's got a 44.2 Draftkings average. Now remember, to have a really good road course, Draftkings, you're looking at having about 60 to 65 Draftkings points. That's going to put you easily in the top 3 of Draftkings points. And then the next spot here, of course, is his average finish over those 5 races, and it's 6.8. Kyle Larson finished 15th last year here at Sonoma. And then we, over here to the right-hand side, up in the top right, this is his total full road course history. This includes any of the Rovals that they've run and any of the road courses that they've run in Cup Series. So Kyle Larson has 27 total road course starts. He's got 3 wins out of those 27 with 7 top 5s, 10 top 10s, 18 top 20s, and a 14.7 average finish for 27 total races. And that, as long as they were driving the Cup car, that it gets listed in here. So, I mean, Kyle Larson at one point was racing with Chip Ganassi Racing and now has switched over to Hendrick. It's all of their races combined at road courses. Then up here to the top left is my ranking system. So I take the last 5 races, then I also take the last 10 road course races, but I do put into that mix, I put in any of the Roval style races. Then I look at the last trend that they've had over the last 10 races. Some of that includes the Dakota race, but it also includes all the last 10 races Cup Series. I put in practice, I put in qualifying, place differentials, and things like that. And all of that gets mixed in, and it comes up with a kind of an algorithm that I've kind of built, and it lets me know that Kyle Larson is the #1 pick. So I'm running about 35 to 40% of Kyle Larson in my DraftKings lineups. I run a total of 40 lineups, and I run them through a course of about 5 to 6 tournaments. I am mostly a tournament player, but I do understand cash and have played some cash games. So trying to remember who sent me a message earlier about they did really well in cash last week, and sent me a message saying that they won all of their cash lineups. So good on them. I think it was Andrew who it was, but he had a really good week. I did not. I may have been my worst race last week. I just did not have the right grouping of guys together at all, and that happens. And we move on to the next week. So hopefully this week will be better, and I can kind of win some of my money back. But either way, so that's what's everything in this box. So as we go through drivers, we're going to cover some drivers a little more in depth than others. But either way, you can always stop, pause, take a look, and go back and review if you're trying to figure out somebody's latest or past stats and those types of things. So we'll kind of keep cruising here. Next in line, Tyler Reddick, priced up all the way at $10,400. He won at Coda earlier this year. He won 2 road courses last year. But he finished 35th in this race at Sonoma last year. Sonoma is much more difficult than any of the other road courses we go to. I would say second in line is probably Circuits of America, and then Watkins Glen, and then you got your Roval styles. But Tyler Reddick's, he's a good road course racer. We didn't really realize that until last year when he won 2 road courses and then won Coda early this year. Coda win early this year. I mean, he did lead a fair amount of laps, and he was able to avoid all of the carnage. That will be probably one of the nicer things about Sonoma is I don't think we're going to see this huge melee pile up going into turn 1/2. It's number one. It's a little bit further from the start finish line in the restart zone. It's also uphill, so it's a little bit harder to get that really strong drive in, and it narrows up, but it's not this big funnel of where they go from being able to go 4 and 5 wide down to 2 wide. So it's a little different. So I don't think we've never really seen a melee style pile up at Sonoma. Much to be the first year we do, but we have not seen that in the past. So, but either way, Tyler Reddick, 10,400, pretty good little road course racer. That's why he's priced up next to Kyle Larson. He is starting outside pole. As we see, Kyle Larson really screwed his qualifying lap up. He just didn't. He missed a corner. That's all it takes. They did 2 laps, and he missed the second round. So his missing a corner might be our advantage when it comes to DraftKings, but he's probably going to be very heavily owned. He was 64% owned in the Xfinity race today, and I would probably expect Kyle Larson to probably be at least 50% or more owned for the Cup race tomorrow. By the time we finish this, it might be today. But Tyler Reddick starting outside pole, 4th in practice on single lap. He did 10 total laps of practice, and then we only had like 7 guys that did 10 laps. So I backed that down to 5 lap consecutive average. So if they ran 5 consecutive laps, they got timed, and Tyler Reddick did slow up a little bit from 4th to 9th in that 5 lap consecutive average, where Kyle Larson was able to maintain that number 1 spot. As we said, Tyler Reddick's got 2 wins at the last road courses. 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 4 top 20s, a 31.1 DraftKings average, and a 12.6 average finish. And that gets really pulled down when you finish 35th here at Sonoma last year. Out of his total road courses, he's got 15 total starts on road courses. He's got 3 wins, 4 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and 11 top 20s with an 11.5 average finish. So yeah, Tyler Reddick, potentially he's got the chance to really kind of do something again, starting on that front row. Chase Elliott, who is also a really, really good road course racer, is starting 10th. Practice speeds were really good, 7th and 4th. He's got the best average out of everybody. He did miss the Coda race from earlier this year with a broken leg. But he's got 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and 4 top 20s. Hey, Mark, Matt's wife, I had hell of a last weekend. Thanks for your advice. Yeah, Matt and I were texting last week, and he said you were having one heck of a good finish. So I'm glad that somebody in the group was having a good time, because I was not. I still enjoyed the race, and I enjoyed that Matt was letting me know that you had a good tournament, and hopefully that trend continues. Keep the momentum up. But I'm definitely glad to help out. But Chase Elliott, very, very strong road course racer, as good as any of these 3 and probably 10 people that we'll consider kind of road course ringers. And Chase Elliott definitely has the best average finish and best Draftkings average. Even when we look at his full stats, 24 total starts on a road course, he's got an 8.4 average finish. I mean, 20 out of 24 times he's finished in the top 20. So starting 10th, that's potential for Chase Elliott, and Chase Elliott is super hungry. He needs the win. He's going to have to win to advance into the playoffs. So yeah, if Chase is anywhere close, he's probably going to do whatever he can to win the race tomorrow. He's going to have 3 more shots at road courses. We've got the Chicago road course. We've got the Indy road course, and then we've got Watkins Glen before we get to the playoffs. So this is one of 4 tracks that Chase Elliott stands a pretty good shot at trying to get the win. And yeah, I expect Chase Elliott to, if he's running in the top 3, he's going to do whatever he can to try to get that win. So I do like Chase Elliott. Starting 10th, we've got a little bit of PD upside, because pretty much, yeah, I don't think we need to be looking at anybody starting outside 30th, other than 1 or 2. I think it was Austin Cindric starting outside, and I think Ryan Blaney is starting outside the top 30. I had a super busy day today, so I have not finished watching qualifying and practice, but I did get a chance to look at speed, so I don't really know what happened to Austin Cindric and Ryan Blaney on why they had such bad qualifying. So if anybody knows, throw that in the chat. I would love the feedback. What's up, James? Welcome to the chat. Welcome back. And was it you that sent me the message earlier or for last week that said you had a good run in cash games? I don't remember if it was you or Andrew that sent me the message, and I replied to you earlier tonight, but I got in here, I was like, I can't remember which one it was. But either way, it sounds like everybody's having some good luck in DraftKings after watching the videos. So yes, I did. Thanks for your advice. My pleasure. More than happy to help. Kyle Busch next in line here at 10,100, starting 12th. He was 15th in single lap, 18th in 5-lap consecutive average. He finished 18th at this race last year. Kyle's an okay road course racer. He's not typically somebody that I would put in a lot of my lineups. He does have 3 wins at road courses. I mean, this A-car won twice at road courses last year. The crew chief, I don't remember his name, the A-car, and Kyle was Reddick's crew chief last year. But Kyle during practice, was able to catch this part of practice. Kyle was not happy with his car during practice. So starting 12th, but there's some PD upside. potential with Kyle, but not a ton. I just don't know if I love the Kyle Busch play today. Um, Blaney just missed the setup so far this weekend. From what I saw, Cindric looked good at the first part of practice. Not sure what happened during qualifying. Yeah, and I was watching the Xfinity race, and Cindric was there with Harvick, and I never heard him talk about it. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna have to dig into that before I finalize some of my before I finalize my lineups. Um, because if there is an issue with Cindric and the car, I'm not sure I want to take a lot, even though it's really easy to kind of plug and play an Austin Cindric starting. I think he's starting 34th, and Ryan Blaney's starting like 31st. So that's I mean, you almost go, okay, that's a no-brainer, but is it a no-brainer? So it's one of those. It's you got to do a little more investigating before you just plug and play the guys that are starting from the back. Like I didn't take very much of Anthony Alfredo today. I knew that he had absolutely destroyed his primary car. They went to the backup car from Portland, which had a little bit of issues, and then he ended up finishing 37th out of 38th. So just because somebody that you think may end up having a good race because they're starting so far in the back, there's typically a reason why they're starting so far in the back. And a lot of times it's mechanical. So a lot of times those mechanical issues will come back throughout the race. So it's not always just plug and play the guys that are starting in the back. But Kyle Busch, I don't have a great feeling. And I mean, he's got 3 wins, but out of the last 5 road courses, he just hasn't quite been what I consider to be top of the game. I mean, 19.6 average finish. So I don't have a whole lot of interest in Kyle Busch today, or for tomorrow's race. Kind of like William Byron, other than William Byron is going to finish better than 26th unless there's a major issue, like he gets wrecked or has a mechanical breakdown in the middle of the race. If he just stays clean, he's probably going to finish at least in the top 15, if not top 10. So this would be more of somebody who I don't mind plugging and playing. Other than his practice laps were slow, so I could see where it's not just an automatic. 25th in single lap, 29th in 5-lap consecutive average. Now, he finished 9th in this race last year, and he's got a 17.4 average finish at the last 5 road courses. So, not awful. And his average over 21 total road courses is 17.6. He's only got 1 top 5. So, once again, it may not be just an automatic plug and play, even though I do like the play this week with William Byron starting 26. He's having just that good of a year that even if they're a little off, I think he ends up well. All right, next in line here we've got Ross Chastain, who's Ross is a pretty good road course racer. He's got an 8.6 average finish over the last 5 road courses with 4 top 10s. Okay, I mean it's pretty good. Starting 15th. All right. Practice speeds were pretty good. 12th in single lap, 6th in 5-lap consecutive average. He does have that win from last year at COTA. So yeah, I don't mind the Ross Chastain play. Maybe even like the Ross Chastain play more than I like the William Byron play. The average finish is a little bit better, but Ross has not shown what he had last year. And part of it might be he's just trying to make sure he's got good, clean finishes. Unsure. But Ross is a pretty good little road course racer, and Trackhouse tends to bring really good road course cars. So I don't mind the Ross Chastain play starting 15th. There is a little bit of PD upside to play with there. Daniel Suarez, 9,500. Daniel did not have a great Xfinity race today. He also jumped the restart at the end there, which cost him some positions, but he was on older tires. So if you take out the fact that he didn't take tires to get track position and then screwed that up. It's not that Ross is or Daniel's a bad road course racer. I mean, over the last 5 road courses, 3 top 5s. That's pretty consistent. Got the win here at Sonoma from last year. He looked solid today in the Xfinity car. He was top 10. But starting 9th, if you finish 9th, I don't know if that's enough to make the optimal lineup. Maybe a decent cash play. But something just kind of has me a little bit worried. His practice speeds were 20th in practice and did not do a 5-lap consecutive average. Only did 7 total laps. Coin flip on Daniel Suarez. Yeah, my amigo messed up today. Yeah, he was gonna have a decent finish until that restart. He would have had a top 10, but he was kind of running top 10 most of the race anyways. So, I don't mind Daniel Suarez for tomorrow. I like Rush Chastain a little bit better than I like Daniel. Just a little bit of PD upside, but I think they're both potentially. They both could be top 10 tomorrow. So top 5 might be stretching it a little bit, depending on pit strategies. There's always that possibility. AJ Allmendinger, next in line, the road course ringer, as they call him. 9,300, starting 5th, 3rd in single lap, 2nd in 5-lap consecutive average, finished 2nd in the Xfinity race today, which was actually pretty good because out of all the road courses, Sonoma is probably least favorite track, and where he performs probably not the best. Finished 19th last year here at Sonoma, and I can't remember what he did in 2021. It was not great either. So he has always seemed to struggle a little bit more at Sonoma than he has at other road courses, but he's still AJ Allmendinger. And he had a pretty good run today, which made me think that he might have a little something for this weekend. So starting 5th, and his practice speeds were pretty good. I don't mind the AJ play. He's got a 16th place average finish. He finished 19th in the race last year. So I don't mind the AJ play, but he's going to be pretty heavily owned. That says, do you think Allmendinger's ownership will be high with his starting spot being so far to the front? Yes. I still think AJ is going to pull a fair amount of ownership. Just because you've got some people who just kind of plug and play different people, and they just plug and play AJ Allmendinger. AJ could easily be a dominator at this race. With the other guys that are starting up front, AJ could easily get up and get to the front and dominate this thing. And we have to remember that there are no stage breaks. There are stages, but no stage breaks for this race, just like there were no stage breaks in the Xfinity race. So we could see, I doubt this happens, but we could see a non-caution race for this race. So if that happens and track position is key, whoever can get to the front and stay up front. As we saw, even Kyle Larson and AJ Allmendinger with fresher tires couldn't get around Eric Almirola tonight. So track position is very, very key for this track. There's really only 2 to a third potential passing zone at Sonoma. One is the downhill into 4, which is the right-hander. Then immediately following that up, you have another chance to pass 5, or as they call it, 4, 5A. Not real sure, but as they come down the hill, there's a really heavy braking zone. You can make a pass. Then right after that, there's another pass before you go into the S's. And then after that, it's the real long straightaway where they pretty much make a 90-degree turn. That's the only 2 real spots to make true passes. So there's not a ton of opportunities for these guys to make passes. Unless you just happen to get somebody who gets up and out of the groove and you're able to get by them. It's a very difficult track to pass at. Um, so Austin Cindric next in line here, another really good road course racer. 9100, starting 34th, 26th in single lap, and only did 6 total laps. I'm thinking there was something mechanical going on with his car, which probably means they're going to do some work on it overnight, which means he'll end up starting 34th and then go to the end of the longest line, which starting 34th, there's only 2 spots to go back further. So that's not a detriment if you happen to see that Austin Cindric had to make unapproved adjustments and go to the rear. He's pretty much already there anyways. But his road course average finish is 7.8. He's led laps at COTA. He's a good road course racer. He's won plenty of Xfinity road course races. Has not won a Cup road course race. The only win in Cup is the Daytona 500 from 2021. Or 2022, I mean. So, I mean, Austin Cindric, like I said, unless there's some real mechanical issue going on that they're not able to fully diagnose and get fixed, I think Austin Cindric's a plug and play. I think if that is the case, he's probably going to be the second or third or fourth highest owned driver tomorrow. He could easily be second behind Kyle Larson. So, finished 5th in this race last year. Got a 7.8 average finish out of the last 5 road courses. So I definitely like some Austin Cindric. I've got him in 35 to 40% of my lineups currently. Like I said, I do a little bit of reviews, so that might get adjusted a little bit, but I'm pretty heavy on Austin Cindric. I think it's one of those that only really one spot for him to go is up. Now, not going to make the optimal lineup if he only makes it up to 30th. And at 9,100, it's a little pricey for that type of move. But I think he's almost one of those you almost have to have him in your lineup, because I think it is one of those he's kind of a shoe-in probably for the optimal. If he has even just a decent race, he can get probably up to 15, and that's almost 20 spots. So when we're talking about only needing 60 points to make the optimal lineup securely, I think Austin Cindric is probably a shoe-in. Now, somebody who's not a shoe-in is Denny Hamlin, starting first. Now, it's really hard to pass, so if he can get the lead early, and this thing goes long, his pit crew is pretty quick, as long as he doesn't screw anything up on pit road. Denny Hamlin could be a dominator of sorts, but he's going to have some really good guys that are pretty fast, and Denny Hamlin was not the fastest in practice. That's the part that concerns me. If this were Kyle Larson, who was fastest in practice for both single lap and 5-lap consecutive average, and he was starting from the pole, then we're talking about a different story. I'm not a complete all-out fade on Denny, but I don't love the call. I think a Tyler Reddick is much better of a choice from the front row than Denny Hamlin. So, don't love the Denny Hamlin starting from the pole just because his practice speeds were not where they need to be. He finished 31st in this race last year, and in the last 5 road courses with this new next-gen car, he only has 1 top 10 and no top 5s. So those are the things that concern me about Denny Hamlin starting from the pole. Denny could lead all of stage 1 and finish top 3. That might make him the optimal. Oh, absolutely, because what do you get for first place? Quick. Let's look at that real quick. Yeah, so at COTA earlier this year, AJ Allmendinger started from the pole, finished first, led. No. Oh, this is Xfinity. But either way, this is still the same points. You got 45 points for first, 6.3 for fast laps, so he had 58.3 total points. Now that was only for 46 laps, so Xfinity quick. Let's pull. Where's my cup? Sonoma last year. I mean, the pole sitter was Kyle Larson, who finished 15th, but first place, Daniel Suarez got 45 points for finishing first. So that alone by itself gives you 45 points. And, start leading laps. So Kyle Larson led 26 laps, so it only gave him 6.5 points. But yeah, you see, first to 15th for Kyle Larson here gets a 25.9. And Eric Almirola finished 14th, started 21st, got 36.45. So that's the big difference. Then he could lead. That's what he said in the interview. Who? Denny Hamlin said that he was going to be a dominator and make the optimal lineup. That's really calling your shot if you're calling out Draftkings. I'm kidding. I don't think but he might have. I don't know, but I'd be surprised. Yeah, I mean, while we got this up, I mean, you're literally looking at even somebody like Eric Jones starting 33rd last year. Ty Dillon that moved up to 22nd and 23rd, only had 31 and 30 points. That still was more than Kyle Larson's starting from the pole, leading laps, and falling to 15th. So that's the big difference about the pole sitter. Just so costly. So yeah, finishing first is 45 points. It's a big deal. Martin Truex Jr. next in line here at 8,800. Martin Truex Jr. has the most laps led at Sonoma over the last 5 races. If you happen to catch Larry Nuggets, I have a rental car this week because my car's in the shop, and get to listen to Sirius XM and I do miss the Larry McNuggets nuggets. Not sure what it's worth though. Just saying about Denny. Did Denny really call his shot and say he was gonna lead the most laps and be a dominator and all that? If he did that, I'd love to hear it because he also called his he was gonna get white hot his podcast, and I guess he did. I wouldn't say it was white hot. I think he definitely got better, but then he kind of fell back off again. So, I'll have to go back and listen to his interview after qualifying. But Martin Truex Jr., 8,800. I mean, Martin Truex Jr. for the longest time was, before Chase Elliott got real hot at road courses, Martin Truex Jr. was the man to beat on road courses. But what have you done for me lately? Not much on road courses, at least when it comes to Martin Truex Jr. I got to remember the Toyota and the Gibbs camp were awful last year on road courses. Martin Truex Jr. finished 26th. Denny Hamlin was just here, who finished 31st. Last year, it was an easy pick not to put any of the Toyotas or the Gibbs guys in your lineups. This year, they seem to be a little bit better. Reddick won at Coda, and we're already starting to see, I mean, Martin Truex Jr., second in single lap and 5th in 5-lap consecutive average. So right there told me a lot. Last year, when they had practice, Martin Truex Jr. was awful. He was like 30th. Just never moved from there. So a Toyota and Gibbs camp seems to be headed in the right direction now. So I don't think we have the same concern we had last year with the Toyotas. I think they figured something out real quick. Then he said in his interview that he took Reddick's setup for this race. Okay. I mean, Reddick got the outside pole and Denny's got the front. The problem is Reddick's practice speeds were a lot better than Denny's. Denny's fall off was much worse. So I'll take, if we're looking at head to head, I'll take the guy who's won 3 road courses in the last year over Denny Hamlin. So I'll take Reddick from the outside of the pole before I take Denny. But Martin Truex Jr., 8,800, really good practice speeds, starting in the top 10. Like I said, has led the most laps last 5 races at Sonoma. So 43 total road course starts with 4 wins, 13 top 5s, 18 top 20s, 15.5 average finish over 43 starts. It's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, here's another Toyota from the Gibbs camp who finished 27th last year. Now, Christopher Bell starting 4th, and his practice speeds were 22nd and 16th. So, not great on practice. Kind of the same spot that Denny Hamlin was in. Practice speeds weren't great, and then ended up with a decent qualifying, which has me a little bit concerned. Especially when you've got a lot of really hungry, got a really hungry Chase Elliott who's coming from the back, and you've got a pretty unhappy. You got AJ Allmendinger who wants to win a race, and he needs to win a race at a road course, and then you've got Kyle Larson who dominated the Xfinity race and let that one slip through his fingers. So we've got some pretty aggressive drivers that are going to come through or try to come through a Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin, those types of guys that if they were off at all on long run speed, they're going to get eaten alive. And not that Christopher Bell's a bad road course racer. He's got 2 wins in his Cup career on road courses. Now, both of those were on Roval style courses, but either way, I mean, Christopher Bell, he's a decent road course racer. He's not a Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott or AJ Allmendinger, but he's a decent road course racer. I just don't love Christopher Bell's starting spot this week. Ryan Blaney, 8,400, starting 31st. Yeah, he must have just missed it on his qualifying lap or laps. They were able to run multiples today. The 16th and 17th on a road course for Ryan Blaney is respectable. He's okay on road courses. He's got 1 win, 5 top 5s in his total career, but in this new next gen car, he's not the best. No top 5s and 2 top 10s. I mean, he's got a 14th place average finish even across his total history at road courses. And even in the next gen era, he's got a 14.4. Starting 31st, I mean, we saw earlier what starting 31st and finishing 15th will get you. It gets you pretty close to getting to the optimal lineup. So I like the Ryan Blaney play today. I like the Austin Cindric play. So I think it's one of those. Can you fit Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott into a lineup and not have to go with Grant Enfinger or something? I don't know. I haven't tried to put in a crazy lineup like that, but maybe. Well, let's play. Let's see. Or one of these. I just want to see if it work. Kyle Larson, Austin, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott. Got $5,800 left. We'll give it 50. And Corey LaJoie is a pretty good pick today, and that leaves you 6,300. Yeah, I mean, Andy Lally starting 33rd. Lally's a really good road course racer. Stenhouse Jr. practiced really well. Do a Zane Smith, yeah. So I mean, you could fit those 4 in there. So that's not an awful lineup. Next in line here, Joey Logano, 8,300, starting 17th. Practice speeds were about where he qualified. And that's kind of like what I like to see. I don't love to see these huge variables where they practice 21st and then they qualified 3rd. But Joey Logano's kind of a teens road course racer. Starting 17th, he finished 17th in this race last year. He's got a 15.8 average finish. He's got 1 win on road courses in his total career. In the next gen era, he's got 2 top 5s. It's a coin flip on Joey Logano. He's probably not going to be heavily owned. He's probably going to get overlooked because more than likely people are going to plug and play a Ryan Blaney starting 31st over a Joey Logano starting 17th. Talking about 14 points of more place differential upside. So, if I'm quickly putting a lineup together, I'm going to throw a Ryan Blaney in before I throw a Joey Logano in. So, that and a Kevin Harvick, who's got a better average finish on road courses in the next gen era, 12.2. 55 total road course starts for Kevin Harvick, 12.8 average finish. He's got 2 wins. In the next gen era, he's got only 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s, which is not awful. But his practice speeds were crap, but all year, Kevin Harvick's practice speeds have been crap. And he and his crew chief have worked it out and had solid cars and solid finishes, unless they have something break on pit road, which happened twice this year. But on that, Kevin Harvick's had just good, solid finishes. That's what Kevin Harvick does. He just shows up at the end of the race. So I like Kevin Harvick coming from 21st. Let me know your thoughts. Do you like Kevin Harvick over Joe Logano, or do you like Joe Logano over Kevin Harvick? If you had to put those head to head, which one do you like better? At least for DraftKings points. Harvick manages tires well. Yes, he can. All right, next in line here, we've got Alex Bowman, $8,000, starting 14th, respectable. 11th in practice, 12th in 5-lap consecutive average, okay. In the next gen era, he has got 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 5 top 20s. So, the 5 races that we're looking at, he's got top 20s in all those races. That's respectable. 10.8 average finish. That's a really respectable average finish. 32.5 DraftKings average. Okay. It's probably a pretty safe bet. So what was it? James likes to play cash. I think Alex Bowman's probably a pretty safe cash play at $8,000. So, if you're looking for a cash play, I think Alex Bowman's probably a decent little cash play that may get overlooked. I think it's a pretty safe play. Is he going to make the optimal lineup? There's some attrition, maybe. I think he probably ends up with about 30 to 35 DraftKings. If I had to take a guess. Which, anybody that's scoring 30 DraftKings points or more in a typical weekend, that's pretty good. On a road course, that's actually really good. So, Chris Buescher, where did you come from last year? When we look at his total work of art over the last 5 races on road courses, he's got 1 top 5, 4 top 10s. 4 top 10s is really respectable. 5 top 20s. 4 top 10s. That's really good. He's got an 8.2 average finish, and finished second in this race. And his practice speeds backed up all that. And then he goes out and qualifies 7th. He could easily be somebody to keep a real close eye on tomorrow. I like some Chris Buescher now. The die-hard DraftKings guys are gonna probably have a decent amount of ownership on Chris Buescher. Yeah, I definitely like Chris Buescher. Can't remember what he is betting wise. Pull that up real quick. Chris Buescher is 18 to 1. So bet $1, win 18 if you want. That's okay. I don't love it. But I'm usually don't do a whole lot of straight up betting. Do a ton of DraftKings, but I don't do a whole lot of just straight up betting. But I do like the Chris Buescher play. I think he could do really, really well tomorrow. Brad Keselowski, 7,700. Starting 25th. He's got a 22.4 average finish, but he's been improving steadily every week. He's been getting better with this RFK car. 18th and 14th. I mean, we got a decent amount of PD upside with a 25th place starting spot. Finished 10th in this race last year. Okay. I don't mind Brad Keselowski. I don't right now. I don't have a whole lot of ownership. That may change a little bit. But I don't mind. I don't mind the Brad Keselowski play. Now he's had some really rough luck. The last few weeks, but all it takes is if you can just follow Chris Buescher around, he'll have a great day. What's your thoughts about Brad Keselowski? Do you think Brad Keselowski is a decent play, or do you think it's a scary play starting 25th with practice speeds not being the best in the world? James, yeah, Bowman seems safe. I just don't know if I should play Cindric. He'll be popular in cash, I figure. Yeah, but you're also, even in cash, you still need points. And if Cindric can get up into the top 20, that's a decent points day. So I think Cindric's a better cash play than he probably is tournament play. That's just my gut feeling. I don't mind the Cindric play in cash, especially because he's going to be pretty heavily owned, and you're kind of hedging your bets a little bit with the Cindric. Where in tournaments you want to be contrarian and you want to find that needle in a haystack. Well, in cash, you're not really trying to find needle in a haystack. So I think the Cindric plays, yeah, he's going to be popular in cash, but I think it's probably the play. Just like the Ryan Blaney's probably the play. And then you're looking for that solid top 3 finishers. You're looking for that Kyle Larson, AJ Allmendinger, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick types that are just going to probably consistently get you the top 5 road courses. So I think that's the play for cash. Like I said, I don't play a whole lot of cash. I haven't really dove deep on the numbers on it. I just have a decent understanding of it. That helps. Ty Gibbs, 7,500. Do I think this is the week that Ty Gibbs hit? Maybe. He's a really good road course racer. He won a couple times in Xfinity last year in road courses. If you guys happen to hear talking in the background, my son's got a friend over for a sleepover. Hopefully they're not coming through on the mic. But Ty Gibbs, 7,500. Practice speeds were good. He was solid in the Xfinity race tonight. I don't mind the Ty Gibbs play. Starting 6th. Just because track position's going to be tough. And Ty Gibbs is aggressive enough. Push his way to the front also. For tournaments, I don't know. It's a coin flip on Ty Gibbs. I think he might get overlooked and not owned a whole lot. So that might be the contrarian play. Ty. His practice speeds were good. He's a good road course racer. Yeah, I don't mind the Ty Gibbs play this week. I like the Michael McDowell play a lot more than I like the Ty Gibbs play. But I think Michael McDowell has probably a chance to be a little over-owned this week. But he is really good at Sonoma. He's really good at road courses. And in this next-gen era, he has really taken to this car really, really well. This could be the week we see Michael McDowell win also. I like the Michael McDowell play. He was really, really fast last year here. Hunt. Uh-oh. Okay. Not sure if I blipped out there or not. I got a notification that my streaming software disconnected. Everything seems to be okay. Let me know if I blipped out and if you missed anything. I don't think you did. But I like the Michael McDowell play. A little scary, the 3rd starting spot for Michael, but I think Michael McDowell could easily be somebody that that gets a win or gets that top 5 finish. He's a smart race car driver. Bubba Wallace. Huh. Yeah, road courses. Don't have any interest. He's got a 31.4 average finish over the last 5 road courses, a 26.0 average finish at road courses. He's had small glimpses of looking like he might be decent on road courses, and then the wheels come off. Literally, the wheels come off. Happened at Coda. Audio streams current is lower than I don't know. Let me know if you guys are still getting everything that the stream looks all right. Getting some weird messages. So, next in line here, I don't like the Bubba Wallace play. Do with it what you want, but I have no interest in Bubba Wallace. And we'll just move on from there. Chase Briscoe, $7,000, starting 24th. Briscoe's a pretty good road course racer. He's got 4 top 20s, no top 10s though, with a 16.8 average finish, and finished 13th in this race last year. Practice speed scare me a little bit. But that car's been slow for the last 7 or 8 weeks at this point. And they seem to find a way to finish okay. I don't know if I love the Chase Briscoe play today or for tomorrow. Starting 24th, there is some PD upside, but practice speeds weren't anything that makes me go, ooh, there's something there. I just don't see anything in the data that makes me think that Chase Briscoe gets a top 10, and I think we would need to see a top 10 out of Chase Briscoe for it to really hit value. So, hear you fine. Okay, good. Thanks for letting me know. Eric Jones, 6,800. We've talked about Legacy Motor Club, and it's becoming more and more apparent that Legacy Motor Club, the 43, the 42, are literally on an island by themselves. They're not getting any help from Toyota. They're not getting any help from Chevy. Noah Gragson is out with a concussion, and you had really good road course Chevy drivers that are Xfinity drivers that could have easily filled in for that 42, and crickets. Why, when you've got a Justin Allgaier, a Josh Berry, literally coming out of the Chevy camp, already in California, that could have easily driven that 42 car, and you've got a, not that I have a problem with Grant Enfinger, you're literally pulling a Grant Enfinger from the Truck Series to come race the 42? Now, I know he drives for DMS for racing in trucks, but you're now having to pay for the guy to get out there. Yeah, it's a great opportunity for Grant, but I just scratched my head going, what is going on with Legacy Motorsports that they couldn't get one of the junior motorsports guys to fill in for Noah? So if that's the case, then Legacy's really, really up against a wall at this point. With that being said, that really, I don't have a whole lot of interest in Eric Jones or Grant Enfinger. I understand why they didn't put Jimmy Johnson in there, because Jimmy Johnson literally actually right now racing Le Mans. Like literally right now. I don't know if he's actually in the car, but he has raced 4 hours at Le Mans today. So he was in France. So he was a no-go. But how do you not pull a Justin Allgaier into 42 car? So with that being said, I don't know if I've got any interest in Eric Jones or Noah Gragson for the rest of the year, other than maybe Darlington for Eric Jones, because he's just that good at Darlington. Yeah, I'm a total fade with Eric Jones. it's an attrition race if he ends up finishing well and doing well in draft. That's their only hope, is to have attrition. They're not getting any technical support, it looks like, from Chevy anymore. So, with that being said, and Eric's not the strongest road course racer. An 18.4 average finish over the last 5 races. Finished 22nd this race last year. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of, and it sucks for Eric Jones because he's such a good kid. And he got crapped on by Joe Gibbs, got picked up, and was really starting to turn the corner last year in this 43 car, and now Chevy just poops on him. I feel bad for Eric Jones on the D. Now he's going to come out on the other side, hopefully smelling like a rose. I mean, you're literally working for 2 7-time champions and a guy who is funding that team that owns a fleet of airlines. So a ton of money, great opportunity. I think he'll come out the good side, but it sucks for him right now. Justin Haley, 6,700. So here's the opportunity coming from the back, and a guy that literally finishes road courses fairly well. Finished 12th in this race last year. He finished 11th at the Indy road course, I think it was last year, and he is literally getting tutored by the best road course racer in NASCAR, and AJ Allmendinger. Starting 23rd, and his practice speeds were pretty good at 6th. I think Justin Haley is a shoo-in. So there's your value pick, cheap cash option and tournament option, in my opinion. I really like the Justin Haley play a lot. Starting 23rd, all you need for him to do is finish top 15, or potentially even crack the top 10 if there's some attrition. Eric Almirola, I think Eric Almirola cashed his paycheck already for this weekend. He's not that great of a road course racer. I still scratch my head on how he was able to hold off Kyle Larson and AJ Allmendinger to win that race. Good on him, but when you're 34th in practice, 25th in 5-lap consecutive average, which is literally, I think there may have been 27 guys that ran 5-lap consecutive average. The bottom of the barrel, and you qualified 20th. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of interest in Eric Almirola. I don't see him sweeping the weekend, especially at a road course. I don't have much interest in Eric Almirola for tomorrow. Good on him for winning that race. Kind of like Ryan Preece, he just typically is not that good of a road course racer. 26.5. Now it's only 2 starts, but if we look at his total work, 12 starts with a 25.1. Starting 22nd, he was 31st and then 24th in 5-lap consecutive average. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of interest in Ryan Preece either. It's not somebody who stands out. Now he goes out and wins the ARCA race. I get it, but you're also talking about a really solid Cup driver going and racing 18 and 19-year-old. Andy Lally, who is a really good road course racer, but he's going to be in the 15 car. Now, the 15 car's been doing much, much better recently. Do they continue down that path? I put a pretty good road course racer in this car. I just wish I would have seen something in practice speeds that was a little bit better. And he was dead last in single lap, which is really strange for a guy who's really good at road courses. Yeah, I can't. I'm not completely sold on the Andy Lally, even though he is a really good road course racer, especially in Xfinity. So I'm probably going to fade away off of Andy Lally, even starting 33rd. Yeah, it's a shame because I think the 15 cars started to head in the right direction. JJL is getting pretty good finishes lately. Austin Dillon, 6,100, starting 11th. He was 8th in single lap, 11th in 5-lap consecutive average. And heck, he's better than his teammate this week, at least in qualifying and practice. And he finished 11th in this race last year. But he's not typically a good road course guy. I don't know what to do with Austin Dillon starting 11th. I think you're in a coin flip. I currently don't have much ownership. But 11th last year, 11 starting 11th, 8th in single lap, 11th in 5-lap consecutive average. I mean, those are pretty good numbers. Typically practice shows a lot, even more so than what the past history is. Austin Dillon's just not known to be a road course racer. So with that being said, I don't know what to tell you on Austin Dillon. I don't have much ownership. Unlike Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's not known to be a real good road course racer, and goes out and qualifies 11th and has great single lap speed. And I mean, for somebody who's not a great road course racer, 21st in 5-lap consecutive average isn't awful. But starting 13th scares me, and starting 11th for Austin Dillon scares me. I don't, and I think they're going to be probably very low owned. So if you're looking for a potential playing differently in a tournament, I don't think these are good cash options, James. Just FYI. They could be crazy tournament plays, but I'm a little too nervous to put them in my tournament line. Where I'll put a Zane Smith in there. I mean, Zane Smith is one heck of a road course racer, especially in the truck series. At 5,700, practice speeds were not great. He's still getting used to this car, but I tell you what, this 38 car has been consistently finishing top 20s week after week, whether it's Zane in the car or it's Todd Gilliland in the car. This car is just finishing well. So with that being said, I don't mind taking a shot on Zane Smith. He's really good at Coda. I'd have to go back and look to find out what he did. Take a look. Because the trucks raced here last year. 2022. Sonoma. Corey Ham won this race. That's worldwide. Hold on. We're down. Kyle Busch won the Sonoma race in the trucks last year. Zane finished second in this race last year, truck series, beating Ross Chastain and Ty Majeski, Chandler Smith, and Parker Kligerman and John Hunter. So some decent road course guys. But Kyle Busch ended up winning it. So Fox says it doesn't jump. Either way. Okay. So yeah, I like the Zane Smith play. Starting 30th, I think that's a good tournament play. It's a good value pick. I'll watch him blow up or have a tire go flat and hit the wall 5 laps. Now that I said that, but I like the Zane Smith play. Harrison Burton starting. Yeah, what happened with Harrison Burton? Does anybody? I never saw anything in practice. He ran 7 laps. Did they have an engine expire, or they do something to where they couldn't qualify? So if anybody knows what happened to Harrison, but starting 36th for the 21 car, I mean, I don't think Harrison's going to be all that. He's not going to light the world on fire tomorrow, but he's got the potential to at least get to a top 25, if not a top 20. So that's a really good play there also. I mean, I think if you're looking for 2 value guys for tournaments, I think it's a Harrison Burton, Zane Smith play. And then at that point, you literally can load up with anything up top. and you've got really good place differential. So I don't know why Harrison Burton starting so far back. I missed that qualifying. Grant Enfinger, once again, we already covered the issues and problems going on at Legacy. Like I said, Grant's doing really well in the Truck Series currently. Not the best road course racer, and he's never driven this new next gen Cup car, and it is way different than the trucks. Good on Grant for getting this opportunity, but it's a head scratcher why Grant Enfinger was chosen to be the relief driver, other than he's with GMS Racing. I, yeah, I don't have a clue. I'm staying far away from Grant Enfinger. Unless this thing turns into a Daytona Talladega crash fest, and Grant literally is just running a half a lap down the entire time and ends up finishing 15th. That's the only way I see this being a decent day for Grant. He's even said in his interviews, "I'm just looking to turn laps. I'm not looking to light the world on fire. I'm not looking to do anything. I'm gonna try to bring the car home in one piece." Okay. If that's the case, you're probably gonna finish maybe 32nd. So no interest in Grant Enfinger. I would say stay far away. I mean, even with somebody with the caliber of Noah Gragson has been struggling in this 42 car. Not that Ty Dillon's any better, but Ty Dillon struggled in this 42 car last year. Corey LaJoie. I was really hopeful that Corey would have a great week last week, but after listening to his podcast, Stacking Pennies, he really broke down how difficult it is for a driver to, especially a Cup regular who's used to their car and their setup and their crew chief, to flip a switch and jump into somebody else's Cup car. It was an uphill battle for Corey, and he literally didn't find out until Tuesday or Wednesday that was going to happen. So Corey was fighting an uphill battle. I don't think Corey did anything wrong in that 9 car. And the 9 car's been a little bit off, but if you haven't listened to the podcast that Corey puts on Stacking Pennies, it really is eye-opening on what the difference is between the Spire Motorsports and the level that they're at, which is not bad. But when literally Corey walked into Hendrick, it was just night and day between the engineers, to all the training, to just everything. And that's why Hendrick and Joe Gibbs and those guys run top of the pack every week. And it's an uphill battle for these smaller teams. It's a really interesting and eye-opening podcast. Also, if you don't listen to Denny's podcast, it really I want to see the data that these guys are getting. And I'm trying to figure out, with everything I've got, to figure out how to get the data that these guys are getting, because it is in depth. But Corey LaJoie, let's get back to him. Starting 19th this week, 17th in single lap, 15th in 5-lap consecutive average. That's really good practice speeds and a really good qualifying for Corey LaJoie. Here's the Jesus happening. Finished 34th in this race last year. He's got a 24.8 average finish on road courses in the last 5. I think Corey may be starting a little too far up for what I want, but this potentially could be a sneaky pick. Yeah, if you have to play it, I think it's not a bad play. And Todd Gilliland's a really good play. Starting 32nd, he was 27th in single lap speed and 22nd in 5-lap consecutive average. He's driving the 51, but Rick Ware's been putting some extra money and some extra energy into this program. Kind of like what he's seeing in the 38. Do I think Todd Gilliland's going to go and set the world on fire tomorrow? No. Do I think he gets hunts maybe the top 20, maybe. It's a little risky, in my opinion, because he's driving the 51. But brickware cars have been doing slightly better recently. Ty Dillon, 5,000. The only way Ty Dillon does anything is if there's attrition, and he's starting 27th. I don't love the starting spot here with Ty. I know he's got a 24.5 average finish over the last 4 races, and he finished 23rd in this race, but starting 27th, if you finish 24th or 23rd, that doesn't do me any good, even at $5,000. There's not enough value there, points to get anywhere. And we got the return of Josh Bilicki here in the 78. Josh is a road course racer, but he does much better in the GT3 style car, not in the Cup car, or the open wheels. 4,900, practice speeds were not there. Starting 29th, he's starting too far up, in my opinion, when your average finish is 30th and 29th last year at this race. So, no interest in Josh Bilicki. So, with that being said, who do I like the most? I like this group up here because we've got some place differential with Kyle Larson, William Byron, and Ryan Blaney. Tyler Reddick starting outside pole, I think, could easily get out front and lead for quite a few laps. And then Kevin Harvick, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, maybe even a Harrison Burton. I got to figure out why Harrison Burton so bad in qualifying. And I haven't heard anybody chime in there on the chat, so I'll dig into that. So dig into the Harrison Burton on why he's starting 36, because that's odd. And I missed it during practice, and I never saw him go off course, so something weird happened. Chase Elliott's hunting for that win and needs a win badly. So finishing spots, I think Chase Elliott's a free finisher, and he's close to the front. He's going to do everything he can to win. Denny Hamlin from pole, I don't love the call. Daniel Suarez won last year. I just don't love him starting 9th. AJ starting 5th and Michael McDowell starting 3rd. I don't mind those two. They potentially could lead some laps and get a top 5 or top 3 finish. Ty Gibbs could come and surprise everybody and get a win tomorrow, but Todd Gillen starting 32nd. I'm okay with that, even though he's not starting in the 38 car. No real interest in Bubba Wallace. No real interest in Eric Jones. Austin Dillon starting too far up. Now Zane Smith starting in 30th. It's really hard for my algorithm to pick anything up because we don't have it's all mostly data based. So for me to really get much in ranking from Zane, I have to artificially put numbers in, and I don't really love doing that, other than I just know when I'm building lineups that I like the Zane Smith play. No interest in Grant Enfinger or Ty Dillon or Andy Lally or Josh Bilicki. Number one, they're starting too far up and just in not the best equipment. Didn't show up in practice, or at least with practice speeds. And these guys, I think, finish where they start, except for Harrison. I think Ryan Preece doesn't improve anywhere past 22nd. I think Eric Almirola been cashed in tonight, and I don't think it's going to be there tomorrow. Cole Joy, I think he finishes where he starts. So, hopefully that helps everybody out with those. Optimal lineups. Oops, didn't change the top part. Sorry. Don't want to pay attention to the header. But the lineup from Sonoma last year, even from 21, you had a Kurt Busch that started 30th. Other than that, everybody's starting in the 20s. Now, I think it's a little different this week because I think Austin Cindric is not a 34th place driver. I think he's going to easily potentially get into the top 20, may even sniff the top 10. He's got an average finish of 8.4, so I don't mind that play. I don't mind the Ryan Blaney play coming back from 31st. And if Harrison Burton just screwed up his qualifying lap, then I don't mind that play. But other than that, I think we're looking somewhere in the top 20 drivers, maybe top 25 starting spots. But beyond that, I don't think I have a whole lot of interest. So this kind of shows we don't have a whole lot of place differential. Um, there is some, but it's not. We're not digging real deep into place differential at this point. And the same thing we see here at Coda now. The Todd Gillen play 36 to 10th. Okay, but you got to remember what happened in Coda earlier this year. It was an absolute cluster. The last 3 restarts, they literally just made a junkyard in turn 1. And then Watkins Glen, I mean, Christopher Bell starting 38th. He's not a 38th place driver. Never will be. He finished 8th, but that was an easy pick. Kind of like, if there's nothing wrong with Harrison Burton, now, do I think Harrison Burton makes it up to 8th? No, but does Harrison Burton make it to 15th? Potentially. And if that's the case, that's really good numbers. But as you see, optimal lineups, 66 points, 62 points, 55 points, 62, 60, 60. We had a 70 with Daniel Suarez, but in a 72 from Kyle Larson. But they led almost half the race. So anything in this, if you can find drivers that are going to get you into the 50s and 60s, you're going to have a great day. And money-wise, I mean, we had 0 at Watkins Glen from last year, 1,600 from Coda earlier this year. But last year's Sonoma race, we had $3,900 left. And nobody priced over $10,000. I mean, the most expensive guy in the optimal lineup was William Byron at $9,200. So don't think you necessarily have to spend all of your money this week. I think you're looking for that 1 to 2 dominators that will also fit for finishing positions. Then I think we're looking for 3 place differentials. I've never left close to that amount of salary on the board. Wow. Now I have left that much in times 3 or 4 when it comes to Daytona and Talladega and now the new Atlanta. Have absolutely no problem. I've seen $18,000 left over on salary cap from Daytona and Talladega. So yeah, a little strange for it to be a road course, but I mean, the 2022 Sonoma and the 23 Coda, $1,600 left. So, yeah, lots of money left over. So you don't necessarily. Now you got to remember this is optimal lineups for tournaments. I don't. Yes, these would play in cash, of course, because they're optimal lineups. But I'm not sure I go hunting for these for cash lineups. It's really kind of to show for tournament plays what you're kind of hunting for and looking at. So yeah, in cash tournaments, I think you need to spend more of your money. Don't be afraid to spend more of your money. Whereas with tournaments, it doesn't play that way. So, but either way, decent viewership tonight. Thanks for the chats from everybody. Hopefully, you got the information you needed. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I think most of you guys that are currently on do that. But if you don't, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I try to be on Saturday nights, somewhere between 9 and 11, depending on what's going on throughout the day. And if there's a race that's happening, Xfinity raced in until 10:15 tonight. So by the time I got everything wrapped up and finished with that, I came on and did this YouTube channel. But either way, good luck. Let me know if you hit again. James, congrats on your week last week. Matt's wife had a great week last week, family man. And Paul, thanks for joining. I didn't see Andrew in the chat tonight, so if you happen to be watching or you joining us late, make sure you hit up in the chat. I appreciate it. And yep, absolutely, James. It helps me build my lineups also, so it makes me go through and go, maybe that 20 to 25% ownership might be too high, or that 5 or 10%. No, that's way too low. I need to probably adjust that a little. It helps me kind of refine my lineups also. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and good luck this weekend. Win some cash. Let me know if you do. And we are off next weekend. No show. I'm out of town. I'm on vacation. So won't be doing anything there for next weekend. So rejoin for 2 weeks from now, and we'll get back after it. We've got a long stretch all the way to the end. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Hit that like, subscribe button. We will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks. Bye.
Get a good deep breath. Get ready to roll here. Only about one thing tonight, getting the W, so got to be around at the end to do that. Get ready to roll tonight, boys. Let's go have some fun.
Don't get me any more fired up than I already am.
All the way to the checker. You're fine. Nobody's got to run. Checker time, baby!
Hell yeah!
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day. Great work, my man. Great work. Keep putting yourself in position. We'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
10-4, great job, guys.
Excellent work, my man. Excellent work. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome. Set out with a goal, we got it here, bud. Thank you very much.
Really proud of you, man. Drove your butt off tonight. We had the fastest car here, bud.
Probably killed our deal there. Just feel like I gave one away. Yeah, boys! Way to rebound! Great job!
Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend.
What a weekend. Good job. Thank you.